the Bromont sign?
Right here.
There it is.
Right there.
Boom.
Bromont. Yeah. Look up.
Hottie patat. And you're eating wood. Huh? Oh, you're so funny. You're so funny. You want to go for a ride? Oh my goodness. You're being ridiculous. So we had arrived to Bromont, Canada. This is the Tuesday. And just working Lee here and some flat work. Our jog up was Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday was dressage. And I had a Friday slot. So sometimes planning on kind of what works for your best, when to hack, how many rides a day. Every horse is very different. So here I'm just going through some work with Lee and his lateral work. He had been doing lots of hacking, and so he just felt like he needed a little bit more mental stimulation. So just working on some transitions into halts and good stuff like that. So he was feeling really well. He traveled really well. He was feeling nice and fresh. And then my dad actually got a call while I was riding, and this is 9:30 in the morning, that his mare back at home was in labor. And she had been checked, and that she looked like she was going to have the baby the following week. But nope, 9:30 in the morning, and he had a healthy filly that was born. Rainy day. Hi, bud. So this is a little bit of what the weather was like while in Bromont. It had been raining pretty much all week. And just any time it was a little bit lighter, we would go and hand walk and graze the horses. And so a little bit conscious about the cross country, but first things first, had to get Lily ready for the dressage phase. And so here he's getting ready. Megan had put in some beautiful braids, and off we go for our dressage test. Now this arena can sometimes prove to be a little bit difficult for the horses. As you can see, those flags down there flapping, they make quite a bit of noise, just like right when you're down there at the bottom. So again, the bell had rang, and I'm trying to get Lee just a little bit on our aids. This is essentially what I do every time before I go into the ring with him. And he's been so good the past 4 events. Really, really settled and super rideable. And he just feels a little tight. And again, it was pretty chilly. You know, we've been used to some Florida weather, and it's probably like low 60s. So a bit of a change. So a little bit on the fresher side for him. But again, he's feeling good. Go into our shoulder in. And then I have to make sure I get him straight for our medium trot, which sometimes can take me a minute because he is a little bit of a Gumby. But I have to make sure I get him straight. Try to get in my corners. And for our next shoulder in, this is his stronger way. That's pretty good. And then into that medium again, got a little wiggly. I lost my straightness, so that could have been a little better. Now preparing him for the extended trot. Again, he doesn't have the flashiest, but he does cover. He does step over and do a fairly we can get fairly decent scores on those. And now into our half passes, which I should have brought the shoulders around a little bit more. So the haunches led a smidge, and then I lost a little bit of the rib cage. So this is typically like our bread and butter, but I lost a couple of points on this exercise just in the accuracy of it. And then into our walk. It's a better walk transition for him. Now that's always been kind of a weakness. He can stop on the forehand, but he's starting to get stronger and step through. He has a very good walk. So now I'm preparing for the walk pirouette. And again, this is an exercise we can nail all the time, but for some reason I let him go a little bit wide, so I was just losing a little bit of points. And this one's a little bit better. Again, stepping a little bit wide behind. And now we go, you start at the imaginary letter at G, which is in the middle of the arena, into your extended walk. And he's feeling, good. He feels like Lee, nice and relaxed here. I'm able to push. He's just a little bit through the test, felt a little bit tighter than he has in the past, but to be fair, that happens sometimes. But he's trying to be obedient and work for me. So I was really happy in my mind how the walk went and preparing for the canter transition from the walk to canter. Can be a little weak when he comes up, but that was probably one of our best ones. And then into the extended canter, and I'm trying to really go for it. And it looked like he spooked, but that wasn't a spook. He had got mad because I just pressed a little bit too hard. And he had an opinion about that. So I was able to save it and get into the half pass, but I lost a fair amount of points there for that exercise. And again, normally really good. I just went, it's a fine line sometimes. And then because of that, because I had lost a little bit of control and I wasn't able to get him back, then I was too quiet for the flying change and it was late behind. So again, a little bit lost points, but just working on trying to get it a little better. This half pass is better. He's softer, bending around the leg. Make sure I get him straight here. And then our left to right change is typically our stronger change. I got it over the center line, but he lifted his head a little bit. So again, lost some points there just because it wasn't completely through. And now into our final halt. And he lost a little bit of balance there. So I left a fair amount of points, lost some points in some of the accuracy things. And, but that's sometimes how it goes. I was proud of Lee and we held it together.
Super bright. Jeez Louise. Oh, you can really get the purple. You don't always get it. Yeah.
Oh, really improved the footing.
Yeah.
It was so dry out there.
It was working on drying up. Oh no. Dad's sleeping. Kind of. No. Sunshine needs to come back.
Studs.
Foots for dinner.
All right, so you got to see my studs, and then here we also had what's called gluing of the heels, where we kind of covered the back of the heel and the shoe to help them not pull it. And because the track is fairly muddy, and I know that Lee is not a fan of mud. So here we go, heading to the start box. He felt amazing in the warm-up. Now, mind you, the warm-up was also on footing. So off we go. And he starts to get to feel the footing here a little bit. But, I mean, he felt like a lion in the warm-up. Just keen and probably the best he's felt in warm-up, honestly. So fence number 1, I was like, yeah, okay, that felt really good. Heading to fence number 2, I'm trying, you'll be able to see on the helmet cam, but you can start to see where horses were kind of punching through. So I'm trying to find some good ground. And he leaves out a little bit of jumps. Number 2, fantastic. And then I'm going to go a little bit out of view to fence 3. We did not get very much video, unfortunately, from the side because we ended up at fence 5. So here's a little bit of the helmet cam. Me heading to the start box. Again, he was prepped and ready to go. And now this way you'll kind of get a bird's eye view of the ground a little bit. So, you know, it's fine. It's holding up pretty well. He's feeling pretty good about it over the fence 1. And now heading to fence 2. And I start to feel it get a little bit deeper on him. Again, every horse is different. I've ridden in deep footing on other horses, and sometimes they float across it. Coming to fence 2, saw a big shot. He jumped it amazing. And we were number 14, so we were still fairly early on. So, you know, I was hopeful that for Lee, I could find some good ground. So I'm kind of coming over on the left side here, trying to stay out of the hoof prints. And he jumps fence 3. Great. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now coming down, we start to hit some deeper footing, and I start to feel him literally kind of lose his buffness. Like, he switched off a little bit. I get in here, and I just feel him he just didn't lock on to it. I thought, great. And it was right when he hit the deeper footing coming down the hill, and I just didn't feel like that tiger I had before just left. So I thought, okay, we've got a long way to go. So we popped over that. That was an option. So anytime you see a black flag option, that means there's an option. There's another jump. So you see now we're going into some more deep going, and he just wasn't handling it very well. So after we had that blip, I thought, okay, well, let's see if we can get into a better rhythm and come and pop this oxer. But I felt him kind of suck back here, so that left me a little bit I was kicking on the half stride, and it just wasn't our day.
That was early.
So we just called it a day.
We're done. I'm retiring. We didn't like the ground.
Lily. So yeah, yesterday, it was pretty boggy. Lee had both his shoes on, so that wasn't an issue. But, you know, all in all, it's very disappointing, and I really got to work on getting him more tools in his toolbox and getting him feeling confident. So I think the plan's going to be drop him back down to 3-star, because he's really, I mean, that's super easy for him. And kind of really try to work on finding events that help him gain more experience in the different footing. And, you know, some things that kind of bothered him this year was crowds kind of knocked the confidence, and then footing knocked the confidence. So I think dropping him down to a lower level where he knows he can do it, and then letting him kind of build up from there will be the plan. So probably aiming towards Maryland, that 3-star long, I think would be really good for him. You know, it's a good course. Like, he's not going to be bored or anything, but he should be confident enough, and it will have a lot of people there, and it's a good course. So tentatively, that's kind of like something to aim towards for him, I think. So that's going to be our plan. So, it's been a fun week here in Bromont. Had amazing food. The people are great. And so I get to go back home, work the babies, get them back up and going. So that's always something nice to kind of refocus on and let the big horses have a bit of a rest. And yeah, so onwards and upwards.